Republican Senator Lindsey Graham has become very comfortable in the right-wing propaganda bubble where you're just allowed to kind of say really whatever you want and it's not really challenged in any way. And he was very triggered when he appeared on CNN and Dana Bash, quite honestly, very gently pushed back against like one little tiny corner of what he was saying about abortion. And he didn't like it one bit. He didn't like being questioned in any way and attacked her, saying, "You're covering for these people." There's actually some really interesting data underlying what they're talking about abortion. So let's listen to it. Let's look at it. Then I'll talk to you more.
I think the Republican Party will be in good standing to oppose late-term abortion like most of the civilized world.
Just for the record, Roe went up to viability, but I just want to button this up.
No, quit covering for these guys.
What?
No. Your media, you keep covering for these guys. They introduced legislation that allowed abortion on demand with taxpayer-funded, you paying for it, the taxpayer up to the moment of birth. That was their position in Washington. That's the law they want to pass, and nobody in your business will talk about it. It's barbaric.
Senator, I'm not covering for anybody, and you know that. And when I have Democrats on, and I've had Democrats
just
on,
report the facts.
I have asked all of them about their position on where they believe this issue should be.
Okay. The temper tantrum by Lindsey Graham, accusing Dana Bash of covering for them just because she inserted one little measly fact into the discussion, that is a result of the propaganda bubble that the Republican Party is so used to. It's really important to understand two parts of this. First of all, Dana Bash is correct. The Supreme Court decision in 1973 in Roe v. Wade established that a woman has a constitutional right to terminate a pregnancy up to the point of fetal viability, which is generally around 24 weeks of gestation. Since Roe v. Wade, with medical advances, there have been very limited instances where a fetus was able to survive a week or two earlier than that. Insanely rare, insanely risky. But what we are talking about here, indeed, with Roe v. Wade, which is gone now, okay, but Dana Bash is correct. This isn't controversial. Roe v. Wade dealt with the point of viability, generally considered 24 weeks. But there's another really important thing to understand. Abortions in general, after 21 weeks, forget about 24, after 21 weeks, are really rare, difficult to get, costly, time-intensive, and only even performed by some providers. Now, it doesn't matter what you think is right or wrong. The point is something that barely happens gets almost all of the attention, and the vast majority of abortions get almost no attention. There's a very good graphic from the CDC, which we're going to put up on the screen, which shows that more than a third of abortions are before 6 weeks. Remember, it usually takes 5 weeks to even know you're pregnant. 34% of abortions are before 6 weeks. A full 52% of abortions are before 7 weeks. And then you stack up the numbers. 99% of abortions are before 19 weeks. And when you look out at this graph and you look all the way out to 29 weeks, 0.01% of abortions are happening at that point. And if you go beyond 29 weeks, it is statistically zero. So Lindsey is upset that Dana Bash said, oh, Roe v. Wade dealt with up until the point of viability. What she should have said is, Lindsey, 91% of abortions happen before 13 weeks. 99% of abortions happen before 19 weeks, or some formulation of that based on the CDC data. But they don't care. They don't want to talk about that. And instead, they want to talk about 2 days before the due date, a week after the due date, and all of these different things. Now, let's divide that up into two parts just so we're being thorough. The afterbirth abortions, I still am not totally sure where that comes from. It's not anywhere. There was a rumor from New York that they started. It was untrue. There was a rumor from Virginia they started. It was untrue. So after birth abortion, it's not even worthy of our discussion. The day before the due date abortion, really precise statements about this were made in some abortion hearings. I want to say it was about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And OBGYNs and other medical practitioners testified under oath about this. And they said, listen, just because it might be legal somewhere to have an abortion in the third trimester doesn't mean that OBs are just going to do it. And that it doesn't mean that people are coming to us asking for that. And multiple OBGYNs said, it's never even come up in my practice. This scenario of you're 37 weeks pregnant and you say, hey, you know what? I think I just don't want a baby. Oh, sure, we'll perform an abortion. Most OBs have said it's not even come up. The rare cases where that happens, you're talking about the mother's life being at risk, and that it is just not a thing the way that Republicans pretend that it is. So anyway, Lindsey's all triggered because one little fact was interjected. I wish Dana Bash had actually said more and said, why do you and your ilk insist on focusing on a part of the curve that is below 0.01% of all abortions, which has been widely discussed by OBs, and we now understand the truth of it? Why do you pretend like that's what abortion is? But she didn't do that. And fine, she didn't think it was her place to. But Lindsey's got to settle down and get out of that propaganda bubble a little more often.